Hello everybody and welcome back to the new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we finally have some new information on the upcoming Assassin's Creed VR title, but it might not be the most accurate representation of this game. We also have some exciting updates to go over, like an Elden Ring VR mod, a new AR headset, and a significant leap forward for Meta's hand tracking. Now, there are, of course, links and timestamps in the description, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by Kiwi Design, one of my favorite sites for VR accessories. They just released some brand new Quest 2 hand straps that'll give you that Valve Index feel and allow you to completely let go of the controllers. They also have plenty of other accessories like controller weights for those of you who work out in VR, cable management systems, and my favorite accessory, their super durable and extra comfy Quest 2 Elite strap. There are links down in the description, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support this channel. Okay, before we get into these news stories, a quick check-in. I just returned home from PAX East, which sadly did not have the biggest VR representation, but I did get to meet up with some amazing studios like Shell Games, Resolution Games, and Alchemy Labs. My biggest takeaway from this event is I am so much more inspired to just work harder in the VR field, and I now have a much improved dedication to this channel and my audience. If this sounds like good news to you, please let me know down in the comments because I love hearing your feedback. It's amazing how meeting up with some fellow geeks and listening to a few panels can really hype you up. In other news, I'm finally playing through Red Matter in preparation of Red Matter 2, and I will have a review of Cities VR up later this week. Okay, so let's jump right into those news stories, starting with a teaser trailer for Omega Pilot. Coming this May 12th to Steam in the App Lab from the same studio that brought us Z-Race, we're finally getting behind the cockpit in a Wipeout style racing game. If you're not familiar with Z-Race, it's a very unique futuristic style racing title where the car is basically attached to your hand and you have to maneuver your ship avoiding obstacles, collecting power-ups, and planning the perfect time to trigger your boost. There were tons of different unlockable ships, which could all be upgraded. Now it looks like their new title, Omega Pilot, will finally be putting you in the driver's seat, but still incorporating the majority of these elements. Now technically it's a single player game, but it does feature asynchronous multiplayer, meaning races from other drivers are saved, and whenever you compete on a track, you're basically going against a ghost of that player's run. So when this game releases in 2 weeks, you can expect to see some Mateo 311 cars whizzing right by you. Now, while we're talking about teaser trailers, we just got one for Echo Arena. Aiming to change this title into much more of an esport comes the Virtex Stadium. Soon you'll be able to celebrate in the stadium with real life people, just like you would at a real sporting event. There'll be different modes of watching live games, including one that puts you in the middle of the stadium, and you'll be highly immersed, feeling like you're now part of the show. If you're interested in trying this out, I do have a link to their closed beta down in the description, and I'm currently really pumped to see how this turns out. And speaking of being pumped on new updates, Walkabout Mini Golf continues to grow. On top of their ever-growing list of truly impressive mini golf courses, developers Mighty Coconut have also recently delivered a slew of new upgrades and new ways to interact both on and off the green. There's a new driving range, upgrades to the avatars, a practice putting field, a raft ride tour, and some other general improvements. Now, I'm honestly the last person who would go around recommending a mini golf game, but Walkabout Mini Golf is just undeniably awesome. It also does a phenomenal job of replicating my horrendous mini golf skills. Now, no matter how good the title may be, you might still prefer something with a faster pace. And good news there, because we just got confirmation that the racing title F1 will be playable in VR. Releasing in July, the PC version will allow VR gamers to get right in the cockpit, racing brand new cars from the Formula 1 2022 season, while choosing from 20 different drivers across 10 teams. F1 is currently available for pre-order, and the Champion Edition will get you a 3-day head start against the competition. Now, if you're not looking to buy any new titles, why don't we try out some new flat screen to VR mods, starting with Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. This mod has just been upgraded to use a new Vulkan driver, which creates stereo 3D in the Vulkan API. It's a serious leap forward in both performance and visual quality, and there's also a bit of a workaround to get some motion controller support. Now, you will have to go through a bit of a manual setup, but it's worth it to experience this absolutely fantastic title from a VR perspective. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, features some truly brutal action and compelling storytelling. Overall, I would recommend this mod instead of playing their actual VR game, Cyberpilot. If you want to test it out yourself, there is a link down in the description. Now, our next flat screen to VR mod is for Elden Ring, and this is once again the work of master modder Luke Ross, who's previously released VR mods for titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead Redemption 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Grand Theft Auto 5. In the near future, supporters of Luke Ross's Patreon page will have access to a work-in-progress Elden Ring VR mod. Similar to other titles like Cyberpunk 2077, this one comes with a motion sickness warning, but at least the camera won't be doing flips whenever you dodge roll. Luke is planning to implement different camera modes, everything from the original 20 feet back third-person view, and all the way down to what VR was meant for, the first-person view. Now, I've personally been avoiding Elden Ring like the plague due to the fact that it is a major time sink and can be absolutely soul-crushing. I actually got to experience the game for the first time this weekend at PAX East, and it's exactly what I expected. Speaking of what I expected, last week we got the MetaQuest gaming show, and I personally knew everything that was planning to release before the show started. Now, if you haven't caught up on the news and don't know what was announced, I do have a full recap that's under 7 minutes long, which I will post a card for. But even more important than the games that were announced were the titles that we're waiting to hear more about, namely Assassin's Creed VR, Splinter Cell VR, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, for one of those titles though, we did just get some major leaks. Going into this story though, we do have to address a few key items. For starters, this information comes from a playtester, and there's no true visual evidence to back up all the claims they're making. Also, unlike hardware leaks, which are a lot more reliable due to the amount of production time and the fact that not many things can change once the ball gets rolling. Software development, on the other hand, is very fluid, and significant changes can be made over the course of a few months. We don't know how old this build was that the playtester experienced, or even if it was a very specific branch dedicated to just testing one specific item of the game. Now, with all of that said, and knowing the fact that this might not be an accurate representation of the title, I still walked away a bit concerned. There were some red flags that left me to believe this game might not have the best foundation, and you can't really build on top of a poor foundation. Now, this included items such as this is a completely linear experience filled with 16 rather short missions. You will be taking on the role of different assassins, but it's merely only a cosmetic change. Locomotion was limited to things like hold A to parkour, and combat was pretty quote-unquote jank, with enemies attacking you one at a time. Now, obviously, certain things like the parkour system and even the combat can significantly improve over time, but it looks like those beautiful open worlds that Assassin's Creed titles have become known for will not be present in this game. And while I said there was only 16 short missions, if they only take you 15 to 30 minutes each, that's still 4 to 8 hours of gameplay. And while I'm personally not the biggest fan of the Assassin's Creed series, one component that always hooked me was the compelling storytelling, and VR has the ability to deliver this unlike any other medium. So what I'm actually saying here is hope is not lost just yet. I usually operate the same as MJ, expect disappointment and never get disappointed, but overall that's not a healthy attitude, and I think some serious good could come out of this. Remember that time everyone hated the way Sonic looked, and then the studio fixed it? So even if the game is crappy right now, which again is not confirmed by any means, it doesn't mean it's beyond fixing. And we're still lacking way too many details to make any judgments. Okay, so let's go ahead and round out this video with some quick hardware updates, but if you are enjoying it so far, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Speaking of giving it a thumbs up, Meta has released a significant upgrade to their hand tracking. Developers now have access to this new update, and many of them are already putting it to good use. As you can see, items like occlusion are now handled much better, rather than having your hand disappear like some type of magic trick. Now, for the cynical bastards out there like myself, we're thinking, well, this has no impact on the vast majority of my games, and I don't really care about hand tracking. I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, you have to understand that these are all major stepping stones to creating that Ready Player One world that we all want. And speaking of stepping stones, Canon has announced the Mreal X1 AR headset, which is an upgrade over their S1 model, having a significantly larger field of view. Now, this is an enterprise targeted device, and AR is definitely taking its time to break into the consumer market, but when it eventually does, it is going to be a major game changer. Remember guys, VR is a trip to a different reality. AR is the ability to augment your existing reality. And trust me, there are plenty of things in my day-to-day life that I would love to augment. Okay, everybody, that was today's new VR news. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.